This is the Blix Vika Flex, a foldable bike that fits easily into the trunk of a regular car, and I think you're going to find the performance that we're going to be going on this review is absolutely amazing. Let's get started.
Hey, Chris, don't you need a battery in that?
Yes, I do. Okay. Okay, you'll see here that the Blix Vika Flex is very easy to unbox and assemble. Once you pull it out of the box, it's already about 95% ready to go. All I had to do was add in the seat post, add on the pedals, I adjusted the handlebars just to my liking, and then I added some flat out tire sealant to the front and back tires just to make sure I didn't get flats on the road with our trails having so many thorns. Once that was done and I adjusted all of the nuts and bolts to make sure everything was tight, which you should do with every bike, I was ready to go. Let's take a closer look at the Blix Vika Flex Plus and the specs and all of the details that we can go ahead and cover on this bike. As you can see, it is a smaller foldable style bike, not like a lot of the fat tire bikes that I've been reviewing in the past. This is one that is actually very approachable, where most people that I show will say, wow, that's actually a really cool looking bike without any intimidation. A lot of fat bikes get this big type of whoa response where they're actually stepping back from it. This one, people step toward and really get close and want to see what it looks like. One thing is it has this beautiful paint job, as you can see here with the sunlight hitting it from the backside. The paint job is just phenomenal. It really does scream quality as you're looking through this. As I talk more about the specs on this bike, you'll see why I think Blix did a fantastic job of making a perfect bike for those who need something that's small, compact, and need something that's actually electric to be able to go ahead and ride around and go further on it. As we move toward the front of this bike, they have this nice little plate here. If you remove that plate, you can actually put a front rack. And as you can see, we have a headlight here. We'll go a little more into detail about the headlight. Fenders in the front, and these nice 20 by 2.25 inch tires that are not necessarily made for off-roading, but are very versatile. They can actually go both on and off-road. I would not take it as an off-road trail riding bike, of course, but if your trail runs out onto some little dirt path, it definitely will be fine with that. And let's move closer to start with the component now. We have 160 millimeter disc brakes, which are actually hydraulic brakes. For a smaller bike like this, sometimes some of the companies will actually go with mechanical disc brakes. This one is a hydraulic. Blix did not spare any expense on making sure that they have these higher quality parts on this, and they priced it well. So those are hydraulic discs on the front and back, 160 millimeters. And let's go to the back of the bike now, where we actually have an integrated tail light. This is another place where some other companies might go cheaper on, but they did not. They integrated it. It is actually a brake light, and it actually does illuminate at night when you do turn on the headlight as well. The seat, another part of this bike, it has a handle there. It is a wider part seat, and it also has a soft cushion to it. Scrolling a little more down on the bike here, right below the seat, we have a battery that actually has its own power meter. So if the battery is not in the bike, you can remove the battery and still know how much power you have in it sitting on the side. You have an on and off switch at the top of the battery, and right below the switch, we have a port so you can plug in the battery to charge either on the bike or off the bike. It removes very easily. It fits nicely in the frame here with a lot of spacing so that you can get it in and out without having to worry about the seat being in the way. Very well designed of a bike here, and I would recommend taking out the battery if you're ever gonna fold it up, make a battery a little lighter. Here we have the foldable pedals. Now the thing about this is I really like the fact that they actually thought about doing this, because when you do fold up your bike, the pedals is what sticks out a lot. And if you need a little more space, even that little extra 2 or 3 inches on each side of the bike being brought in with a folding mechanism like that makes a fantastic extra way to make it more compact. Now the pedals, I noticed, did hit the kickstand here, but it does clear it. So it does hit, but you can still, you don't get pedal lock, which means it won't actually lock up the pedal like some other bikes that have stand maybe too close. So that's something to also keep in mind. Now, as we're looking back into the back of the bike here at the transmission, we have an 8-speed transmission. There's an 8-speed cassette of 11 to 32 teeth cassette in the back, which means you'll get a lot easier time going up hills because you have the larger gearing in the back there for your low gears, and then you have an 11-tooth gearing all the way at the high gear at the bottom there, and that high gear will mean that there's less likely a chance that you're going to be air pedaling a lot, going at 20 miles an hour where the motor actually can push you up to. The other thing is it has this huge 170 millimeter 52-tooth chain ring in the front, along with the chain guard that you saw me point out there, and a slap guard for protecting the frame, but also it's a double-sided chain guard, which means that the chain will not fall out, or is less likely to fall out of the chain ring there. And it also protects if you have your pants on, long pants by there, it won't actually get caught in the chain. That's a really extra added touch that they add there. Like I said, they thought of everything. You know, people wanted, they put it in there. The integrated headlight in the front here, even at 5 o'clock in the afternoon on a summer's day, you can still see the headlight on there. At night, it is really bright, where cars will be able to see you quite well. Now, we also have a double locking latch here for the folding neck piece, which really does help the stem stay nice and sturdy when you're riding it. And it's also just beautifully painted. I wanted to get up and close so you can see this, how it sparkles. It's not just like some matte finish. They actually have this really nice glow on it, and all quality parts. There's no shaking or rattling around the neck here. It's really solid the way they have this. So here's a close-up look at the dimensions of the tires. It's a 20 by 2.35 inch tire in the front. So it's not a fat tire, which means you will still get some decent cushioning on, you know, on light gravel road, or just some of the bumps and cracks in the road. But the better thing about these is that you'll get a lot more efficiency from it, because this motor here is a 500 watt Shengi motor. I believe it's a Shengi. I'm not totally sure on that, but I believe it is, which is a high quality motor, and that puts out a lot of power. 500 watts nominal, 700, possibly 50 watts on the high end peak. Now here's the rack. I am pointing out some of the mounting points that they put. They put multiple mounting points on the back here, so you can mount a basket on a rack, which they do sell. You also have a bungee cord loop holder there. And it's a solid rack, and if you want to remove it, you're also able to do that. We also have front and rear metal fenders, so these fenders will make sure that you stay dry, and they don't rattle. They're also very solidly put on both sides, the front and back, and they are adjustable, which I really like as well. In case your fender for some reason gets a little bit crooked, you can always adjust it, and that's something that I also really like, that they have all of the points that actually make this bike really nice. So here's a step back view of the full bike. As I said, it just seems so approachable. It's not intimidating in any which way. And I know that a lot of people from heights of 4'10" all the way up to 6'2", very versatile, can ride this bike. The display is quite easy to read. Going through the PS levels, also hitting the power button, you'll see that it rotates through your speed, your average speed that's going across the top. You also have your energy bar level. That's a full bar rating that I have right now. It's a full charge. The grips are actually quite nice. Now I thought these and the brakes are 2-finger levers for the hydraulic brakes there. That's all you really need, because these are hydraulics, and it's a, you know, it's a smaller bike, so it doesn't need the extra amount. Here I go cycling through it as the speed, average, and the max speeds can be shown up at the top there as I push the buttons going through. You can see I have 5 different levels of pedal assist, and each of these levels you do get full throttle even at PS1. So that's one thing that's also really nice. We have a thumb throttle on the left side of the bike right there, as you can see it. And the reason why we have a thumb throttle for this is because on the right side we have a twist gear shifter. This is a micro shift gear shifter. For the most part, it's a really good design, and to have that, again, 2-finger shifter for the hydraulic zoom brakes that's on the front there. Very smooth, very quick, easy grabbing brakes. Really liked the whole design, or all the parts that they put on this. Actually really makes it feel like a premium bike. At the time of this recording, it is $17.99, and what I am showing here, that it is a wide enough handlebars that you can actually put accessories like this water bottle holder bag that we have here, and also the cell phone holder on top. Even though you have a water bottle bag on the top, you can put your own water bottle here. Toward the bottom, it has the Cage Boss's holder to do that there. The only thing about that is that you do have to remember you can't put your foot through when you're stepping through. At the bottom of the bike, we have this stand protector, so when you do fold up the bike, which I'll show you a little later, right here, that you will be able to actually put the bike down without worrying too much about it hitting the frame. It's very easy to open. Just open up the latch and then put your pedal in the position where you want it, because it will be folding. You don't want it in the way. Once the bike starts to fold, because it's also so light, I think it's like only about 55 pounds with the battery in it. Of course, if you take out the battery, it's like about 47 or so, so it does help if you do remove it when you want to fold it and put it away. But it's very manageable, I think, for anybody to be able to fold this bike, which is really nice. Some of the foldable fat tire bikes are really nice that they fold, but they are heavy. Some of them run almost 80 pounds. With this one here at 55 pounds, you can carry it upstairs, put it in a closet, put it in the garage, put it in the trunk fairly easily. And what I'm showing here is that there is that magnet mount, the front and the back, that actually makes it a little more sturdy when it comes together, and also you don't have to worry about it banging on itself and scratching, which some other bikes do that sometimes. So there you have it. This is the whole width of the bike. Again, easily will fit in the trunk of a car. The magnet does not hold it very well if you try to lift it without having the front and back held together. It is just an added support, but it's not like a really solid like super strong magnet, but it is very convenient still nonetheless to have that. Opening this bike up, putting it back, just reverse the process, put the handlebars up, lock it in, and then also lock the bottom. There's a little safety clip to make sure that goes in properly. And that is the bike as a whole. And here's another way you can go in and take out the battery. You got to use the key, pops right out, straight up and down. You don't have to lift the seat. They made a lot of clearance for that. And then when you want to put it back in, all you need to do is stick it in, pop it down, and make sure that the pin lock goes in when you turn your key. You do not need the key in the bike to have it running. So this is the Blix Vika Flex. Foldable bike, $17.99 at the time of this recording. Great deal for the parts and components that you get with it. Highly recommend it, and you can see that at ebikeproducts.com/Vika. Again, that's ebikeproducts.com/Vika.